If you can start to nail down your customer journey and figure out what is actually working and then optimize, get better, you are going to be able to get to 100,000 and to 1 million and beyond. Like, you can't not, like, you will do it. Hello! I am so excited because in a few weeks, I'm going to be making a massive announcement. Like, this is big when we launched the membership back in 2013, big like when my book came out, big. It's something so exciting we've been working on all year, and it is going to transform the way that we can help you to build out, like, think of it like your ultimate sales machine. We're going to make it so simple and so easy. And I'm so excited because really up until this point, FEA has been a way that we work with people, we educate women on how to build successful businesses. But this announcement, this thing we've been working on, is going to enable us to not just educate you, but to actually help you implement and do it. And I'm so blooming excited and I cannot wait to share more with you. But kind of what it links to is this idea of, like, what does it take to actually make the money you want? Like, what does it take to actually make your first 100,000 and beyond? And so in this episode, I want to break down what it took for me to make my first 100,000, how I did it, and then I want to share with you some things for you to think about, 4 core things for you to think about, to help you to really see what is it going to take for you to get to your first 100,000 or your first million? Because here's the thing, to get to your first 100,000, the thing you have to get really good at is finding customers, getting people to buy from you. So there's a lot of figuring out there. There's a lot of things that you have to kind of get right in order to start getting people to buy. But when you focus on that and you'll focus on how do I get a customer, how do I acquire a customer, and you start to get pretty good at it, then you get to your first 100,000. And then honestly, to go from 100,000 to 1 million, you just have to become better, get better and better at acquiring customers. You have to just refine, optimize your customer journey so that you can go from people discovering you to people buying from you and loving what you have. You just have to get really bloody good at that customer acquisition piece, getting your customers. So how the bloody hell do you do it? So I thought it'd be really helpful if I kind of showed you how I did it for me, because there are obviously different ways you can do it, but there are some really key things. So here is my story. Firstly, let's talk about how I made my first 100,000 before I started the Female Entrepreneur Association. So back in 2005, I started my first business, which was a phone unlocking business where I was a reseller and I sold phone unlock codes online. So random, but I did, and it was legal. And I made my first 100,000 by figuring out how to get people to buy a phone unlock code from me. And I did it by having a website. And at first I did it by I had a credit card and I used Google AdWords as a way to get discovered, people to discover me and to sell them the phone unlock code. And it started to work and it worked well. And I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty confident in saying that actually it was just at getting really bloody good at Google AdWords, Google AdWords, that, God, it's been a long time, but it was getting really good at that I made my first 100,000. And then to go beyond that, we started looking at, I brought a business partner on board and we started to do search engine optimization. We did YouTube videos. I remember one of my YouTube videos, I got customers to do reviews of our service and some of those videos had like 500,000 views. So it was incredible. So we did like lots of different things in order to start optimizing how we acquired customers that helped us to scale. So that was the first business and I got really good at it. So can you see how at at the beginning, I just got really, really, really good at doing one thing, Google AdWords. And that is how I got to my first 100,000. So let's talk about the Female Entrepreneur Association then. Well, how did I make my first 100,000 in the Female Entrepreneur Association? So it was a completely different business. I wasn't a reseller. It was me, myself, my ideas, my heart, my soul. I had a lot more imposter syndrome around creating something. Who am I to create something? So I had all sorts of money blocks and things going on. So the first thing I actually sold was advertising in the magazine that I started running back in 2012. I sold advertising. Oh my gosh, this was such a hard sell. And I made really not very much money doing it. But the thing that I realized is that I'm putting all this energy and effort into speaking to people, companies that aren't my target, they're not my audience. Like, I'm building, like, I remember I was speaking to brands like Ferragamo and I can't remember, like, other brands. Like, they're not my audience, they're not my customer, but I was putting more effort into those relationships to try and get them to buy advertising space. And I was like, my focus is way off. This is not going to help me to get to building a successful business. So I stopped that, and it was just bloody hard work. So the next thing I probably did quite a few things. I remember selling a little digital product. But then I did joint venture webinars, and I collaborated with some really amazing people like Amy Porterfield and Lewis Howes and James Wedmore, Melanie Duncan, and I just reached out, by the way. I just literally reached out to them to do that. And so I did joint venture webinars, and that made me I remember doing one webinar with Melanie Duncan on Pinterest, and from the webinar itself, it grossed like over $20,000, and then we split that between us. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. But that was inconsistent because I was relying on being able to do joint venture webinars with other people because I didn't have a product of my own to sell. So it was kind of so hit and miss. Some months I would then make 10,000, and then other months I was making nothing. So I felt all over the place. So then I knew I needed to get my backside in gear and create my own product, which I've been so terrified to do. And I had been sitting on this idea for creating a membership. And so in 2013, I launched my membership and I started to get people signing up. So then once I launched my membership, I literally went all in on focusing, how do I scale this? How do I get more members? So when I launched my membership, there were really two real core things that I was focusing on. One, my email list. Two, my social media following. Those were the two ways that I was really promoting it. So as a little side note here, and I'll mention it a bit later on as well when I share the key things you need to focus on with getting to 100,000 and beyond is you have to get people to discover you. And for me, that's how I was getting people to discover me and engage with me. Also, you have to get people to fall in love with you too. So this is how I was getting people to discover me and to really engage with me and to really like what I was doing and what I was about, which is how I got them people to join the membership. When I put the offer in front of them, they were like, yes, I'm in. So that's what I was doing. And then I also started to do some ads as well, Facebook ads. And I just literally, in that first year of launching the membership, I was doing all the things, but I was focusing on how do I keep getting members? How can I get really good at getting members? And at the end of that first year, I had 1,000 members, and it was generating roughly $25,000 a month, which was amazing. So in that year, it will have got FEA to making its first 100,000, which for anyone out there thinking I just started my business, or I've been in business for 2 years, or I've been in business for a year and I feel like I made peanuts. That was I started FEA in 2011 and I launched my membership site at the end of 2013. So that was quite some time into me building the Female Entrepreneur Association, because I hear so often people feeling like such a failure because they're not making money. And I think I always think is, because someone asked me this question literally this week. She said, if you were starting a business right now today, what would you do? And I was like, I would do something wildly different to what I did when I started, because I would probably create my own framework or method for doing something, for getting a result. And then I would reach out to people, and maybe I'd have calls with people. I would try and see, like, does it work? Like, can I really help people with this? Whereas when I started FEA, I would never have done that because I didn't have the confidence in myself and I had massive imposter syndrome. And so I think along the journey, I've become more and more and more confident as I've done more and more and more and more things. I think it's like we have to kind of, acknowledge that this is a journey and a process that we have to go through. And sometimes we're just where we're at and we're not ready for the next stage. And we've just got to go through it and do the work to be able to build the confidence to be at the next stage. So even if you're a year into building a business and you're not making any money yet, it doesn't mean that in 5 years' time, you're not going to have made 100,000 or 500,000 or $1 million. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means like you are at where you're at and you've got some learning still to do and maybe some confidence to grow. So I just don't want you to feel disheartened. Anyway, so I would have made my first 100,000 just by simply communicating with my email list, communicating on social media about what I was doing. And I mean, I didn't dig this up beforehand, but maybe I should go back. It'll just take me some time to dig it up. And running a few ads probably. I did not rely heavily on ads back then in terms of promoting the membership. It was through showing up and thinking of what creative things could I do on social media and what creative things could I do through email to keep people aware of the membership. Now, when I got to that first year and we had 1,000 members, I felt like it was pretty hard work I just felt like I was constantly trying to figure out, like, how am I promoting this? I didn't have a funnel in place. I didn't have anything like that. But I got there. So then I was like, I need to figure out how to make this easier. And that's when I started to learn how to become amazing at launching. And then in 2015, I did my first launch. And in 7 days, I got 1,200 new members join the membership. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So then I did another launch that year. And by the end of that year in 2015, we were at 3,000 members. And so I got really good at figuring out how to get people to join my membership. I got really good at that customer acquisition journey. And that is what got me to making my first million. So that really was looking at how do I get people to it was about ads. It was about growing my email list. It was about growing my presence on social media. It was like, really harnessing that. And I have never had people promote me, as in I've never had affiliates really promoting me on like a big scale. So it's all been self-made in the sense of it's been me putting myself out there. It's been me utilizing tools like social media or Facebook ads. Like I figured out how can I get good at Facebook ads so that I can scale this, how I can get it in front of more people. And so I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out and piece it together. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure it out and look at what's working, what's not working, what do I need to do differently, what do I need to tweak. And that's, like I said, how I got good at it all. And that's what got me to 1 million. And I think the biggest thing is that I don't think you have to overcomplicate it. You don't need really fancy, intricate, complicated, complex funnels. You just have to keep it simple and know what your journey is going to look like to acquire a customer. And if you can do that and then you can optimize it, and maybe at some level you're going to be like, right, now I feel ready and confident to add ads in because I know this offer converts. I know people are liking it. I'm getting really good feedback. So now I'm ready to look at using ads, and now I'm going to look at how do I get really good using ads. And so then, creating that growth. So you can keep it simple. So what are the questions then that you can ask yourself, or what is it that you really need to think about in order to build this process, this journey out for yourself? And for me, like our job as business owners, as a business owner, we have to get really good at getting people to discover us, getting those people or some of those people to then fall in love with us because we are communicating what we're about, we're nurturing them, we're connecting with them, we're getting them onto our email list, we are really warming them up and getting them to fall in love with us. And then we need to then present them with an offer that really aligns with what we're putting out to get discovered, really aligns with how we're nurturing them and makes them feel like, oh my gosh, this is just the next logical step. And then the fourth piece is then we deliver our product or service, and it just blows them away, and it's so amazing that they become just absolutely raving customers, raving fans. They tell people about it, they leave us amazing reviews. And so we have this whole journey. And once, if you think about it like that and you think, what's a simple activity I can do to get discovered? Okay, so maybe it is social media, or for those of you that hate social media, because I have like a love-hate relationship with it these days. Maybe it's networking, or yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now. I mean, there's loads of things, but so maybe it's networking. So like, I'm going to focus on networking in order to get discovered. So then how are you going to nurture those people? So then look at how are you going to get those people on your email list? How are you going to be having conversations with those people? How are you going to get those people to know you and to trust you and to really love what you're about, what your business is about? How are you doing that? Like, what's that going to look like? And it doesn't, I think the simpler you can make it, the more effective you can make it, because complicated just overwhelms everyone, and makes it, just puts up loads of blocks so that we can't ever really make progress. And then how are you going to introduce your offer to people? What does that look like? So for me, with the membership, I got really, really, really good at having launches. So opening up enrollment multiple times throughout the year and getting really good at that journey of launching. Like, listen, anyone can become amazing at launching. There is so much out there that you can learn in terms of how to launch well. You can learn all of the moving pieces of launching. Anyone can. But it's just like, are you going to do it and become amazing at knowing how you can acquire customers through launching? And so like, you can do it through like, if you want to get really good at acquiring customers through booking calls, you can learn that. Like, you can learn that information. So it's just identifying. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it can change, but like, it's just understanding that there's this customer journey. And if you can start to nail down your customer journey and figure out what is actually working, and then optimize, get better, you are going to be able to get to 100,000 and to 1 million and beyond. Like, you can't not, like, you will do it. So I want you to share that with you and just make it simple and make you realize that you can get there. Keep it simple, and anything is possible. But all that said, I have a workshop that I'm going to be hosting. It's kind of my announcement party, but also I really want to go deeper on this and show you more. I want to basically go through an actual example of like a funnel of a customer journey of what it could look like, and help you to see all of the moving pieces that are really core to get in place in your business, so that you can create this selling process. It's almost like the sales machine for yourself, and that runs like a really well-oiled machine, so that you can get to your revenue goals, so that you can make 100,000, so that you can go on to make 1 million, because it's possible. And I think it becomes even more possible when we simplify it so that it's actually doable. So I have not got, if you're listening to this when I've just released it, I don't have it all set up yet, but there's a link in the there's a link in the show notes for how you can sign up, come and join our email list. And I think if you go to fea.link/insider, fea.link/insider, you can join our email list. I send a Tuesday email, which has got lots of behind the scenes things, and hopefully really valuable, and you'll really enjoy it. But you'll be then the first to know when you can sign up for that workshop, which is going to be so much fun. So yeah, come and join me for that. But I hope you have found this really helpful, and I really hope it's helped you to see how you can actually do it, because we can all do it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next Tuesday for another episode of the She Means Business Show.